please let me give you a warm welcome from my side to our info session around the digital readiness for senior business leaders. In this session, we are answering the question with you, how can you ensure to make use of the technologies around you as a senior business leader? Together with Jan-Marco Leimeister and Nicola Jetta from our practitioner partner IBM, we are going to provide you an insightful session. And we would like to answer you, most importantly, two things. The one thing is why this is something your company needs and why this is something you personally need as a business leader. You will have probably seen that we are mentioning this as a corporate open program. My name is Christian Sauerbrei. I'm a director of custom programs at the executive school and the custom team of the University of St Gallen. We consequently strive to make companies better, provide them insights and bring them from A to B. In this case, we have prepared a special initiative. The speciality lies here in the field that we address different companies we want to engage in this journey. We do this by asking senior business leaders to bring with them as an IT guy from their own company in order to reflect their challenges they face in their company, in their industry. And with all the other participants we have the unique possibility to learn out of different fields, perspectives, and to strive for the best. And this is our contribution in the end to strive to make the German-speaking area, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, and all over the world better in demanding times.
When talking about digital transformation, this is a topic that has been around for quite a while. And in these times with the COVID challenges, we see certain things that have been around before, now becoming more and more relevant. Those companies that invest more in IT and in innovating their business model for digital value creation, they are hit less hard in these times. And previously, as the World Economic Forum already has indicated, has performed better. When you look at the chart, you see that companies that invest in digital technologies outperform their competitors in their industries by significant amounts, be it on the field of revenue per employee or be it even by EBIT per employee. And the more they invest, the more the gap between those already ahead and the rest becomes relevant. But those different elements become even more even more striking when you look at the different areas where they focus their investments in. Looking at robotics, not only robotics on the shop floor, but also software robotics is a huge area of investment. And you see that those companies heavily engaging them in that field outperform their peers by a factor. The same is true for IoT investments, but also for cognitive technologies in general. And those who combine actually their investments in various topics, they have a robust advantage compared to the rest of their industries. And you can see that those companies are growing faster. So the consequences of investing strategically in IT leads to better growth rates and higher employer attractivity and better performance by most relevant dimensions. So in a nutshell, digital leaders outperform.
Well, there are a lot of reasons. I mean, there's a call for digitalization since quite a while, as Jan-Marco was already mentioning, but sometimes the impression comes up that nearly nothing happens. And I think we have found the reasons for that in a way, because obviously there's a lack of understanding and acceptance of technology. Most of the senior business nowadays were raised in a totally different world. It's about with whom are you talking to? Can you trust this person? Is it a company who wants to sell in IT and software, we're used to hear as business leaders that they all say that's not a problem in the selling process, but in the implementation process, it's always problems all over. And having this experience and having this gap between this natural understanding of what there is in for you, this is exactly the reason why most leaders hesitate to go into that area. And of course, it's a risk. And at that time where it was very similar driven to innovation, it was a risk to really count on technology, which was most likely at that time not there. So most leaders are talking about these hypes, and every day there's a new technology hype. And so we truly understand the reasons why leaders do hesitate, but something has changed meanwhile.
When you look at the different areas that digital transformation is touching, you see that it's basically changing all areas of our economic environment. Be it on the shop floor, where we see fundamental structural changes, not only by the way how we produce, but also the type of products that we produce. We see a general shift in where is the value from the physical product moving up to the software layer. We see things like digital twins emerging, and out of the blue, a lot of the knowledge and the competence that you used to have in your traditional game is now becoming more and more under pressure and challenged by software-driven logic and by digital value creation logic. The same is true in the area of logistics, but also in, of course, the financial industries area, or also pharmaceutical world. So most corporate companies have invested into such resources and new competencies, but there are still a lot of challenges when to dig and how to dig the value out of those investments. And apparently those who have been leading that field, they are already seeing returns, while the others are still trying to get their feet wet and trying to make the positive benefits on a step-by-step basis.
And this is exactly a crucial point, because the resources are built up in the corporate companies, but still they do not naturally can communicate with each other. I would like to give you an example from my personal area, where I was speaking to a young but quite well experienced data scientist in Zurich. And I was asking, why are you working for these guys? These are not known as the nicest guys in Zurich. And I have to admit this, he's personally a very nice guy. And he laughed and he said, well, they're very nice to me. And I said, why? And he said, oh, it's quite easy, because the business guys don't know what to do with the data scientist. And the data scientists don't know nothing about the business cases. So we try to find together, but we do that in a very kind way. So taking this story, these different disciplines like IT, like data scientists, and like all the technology partner you need, and the business side, this have to join a common communication platform, understanding what you can expect from each other. And this is why we especially have implemented that you, the senior business leader, join this initiative only in an intergenerational learning tandem with a young IT guy from your own company.
So what are the changes in the context that we see? We see more and more pressure on business models and results you're responsible for. We see more and more reorganizations of organizations towards ways that do not fit your traditional industry structure, but that seem to be much more like software companies are organized, or internet companies are organized, challenging the role of leadership in that context a lot. And also the maturity of the technology that is around is on a level where most companies already could leverage much more value out of it than they had before. And a very, very widespread problem that we run into is that especially senior leaders are confronted with the next generation of young leaders willing to take their position and part, very often with a different skill set and mindset that they brought with them, and very often at a much lower cost level.
Well, and so coming again from this storytelling approach to let you understand how we develop that, the demand leaders have in the area of tech was often ignored, or it may have been too early, so you name it. for example, 2 or 3 years ago, there were already quite a vast majority of tech for techies topics in Zurich. A lot of apéros you could join to different tech topics and deep dive. I went there as one of those early adopters, was curious what I have to learn and to understand. But actually, nearly after hello, I was lost, because after 5 minutes, those tech guys got so deep that I couldn't even start to follow. And I had another experience. I had the possibility, which was outstanding for me, to join an important business school event in the US. And there was a program point like coding for children. I mean, whole people in the room did that, what the lady in front told to do. Everybody did that. And everybody felt like, or I personally felt like super stupid, because I could just do it, but I didn't even really understand this type of coding, because I had not the basics. And this is exactly the gap what we want to address here. This digital readiness answers this gap from a practitioner and decision-making point of view. You have to understand what is out there, where could it help, but you don't have to do it, but you have to know the right people, and you have to deal with them in an appropriate way, that you really become a keen team in order to drive momentum in your company. Well, readiness, and I just had a look up, and readiness, one definition is the state of being fully prepared for something. I personally don't believe that you have to be fully prepared. You never have to be fully prepared, but you have to know what's coming up, and you have to know who do you need, and you have to know how you drive your processes and your transformation, and you're an expert in that. That's why you are a senior business leader. You're doing this since 20 years or something sometimes. But now you have to do it with different topics. And when it comes to a role understanding of a leader, it's clearly that you are in this position to achieve results, because in the end, the company has to grow in a way. And therefore, you have to build and maintain the team you need. You have to develop the individual, and you also have to adapt to the new space of technological possibilities, which offers you to come up with different solutions and more value creation. That's all. So it's just in your head another definition of role understanding. And this is what we outline to you in a very easy and pragmatic way, even though we know this tech topic is a special one. But what about in general? Marco was mentioning this value creation in the digital world, was mentioning different technologies which may help you. With whom can you work on that? What exactly and where in your company does it create value? The transfer to your company is important. And then comes the how. And we, St Gallen, we are ready to really ensure that you in your company are making your way in order to identify what exactly and where is the right invest to do it specifically for your company. Nicole, may I hand over to you?
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much. So in the next few minutes, I'd like to use this time to explain you in a few customer references why clients do invest in technology and what are the benefits and what they can achieve. So let me start with Huck. Huck, Hospital University in Geneva, who is expert in cancer treatments and uses artificial intelligence to support the personalized cancer treatments, to develop personalized cancer treatments for their clients. So they were standing in front of the problem of using immense of time to analyze data, to read expert reviews, to analyze all the genomics data available about the car loans, to come up with a personalized treatment for their specific clients. In generally, this process uses about 160 hours to really come up with a treatment for the specific client. So what we've partnered with the hospital in order to give them a powerful tool to shorten this process of analyzation. And we created with Watson technology this tool that allows the physician to spend more time on the client by having the full view on the data aggregated and already categorized. This allows not only the failure of not including certain references or data that should be included, because surely the amount of data is so huge, but it creates a faster and reliable outcome. So that's one story. I think it's really interesting to share with you. Another would be Zucofina. Here, the Zucofina is a coffee trader in this in the market, and we partnered with Zucofina in Switzerland to create an app that's called Thank My Farmer, and this app allows to create a little more transparency between the coffee consumers and the producers along the supply chain. So often, when you look at coffee consumers, who is the target group of it? We know that 66% of the coffee consumers are actually between the age of 19 and 24. So these are the typical millennial kind of people. And they care very much about sustainability, about, fair price for the farmers, etc. But they are not within the power to actually contribute directly to those farmers in order to create a living. So together with Zucofina and Farmer Connect, we used blockchain technology to actually create a more transparent view on the entire supply chain process. This allows the end user to actually, with the barcode code, take a picture of the coffee used and sees who at the end was the producer of the coffee along the supply chain. Now, not only is it the traceability visible and the whole supply chain visible, but also it allows the consumer to directly donate some money to the farmer, so in supporting him in his living standard. On the other side, Zucofina, this process has allowed Zucofina to create operational efficiency by breaking down the barriers that are created between the different supply chain participants. So the process for this operational process is much quicker, it's more transparent, and you can interact and proceed in a much quicker way. So these are two examples I wanted to share with you that outlines maybe why do our clients invest in technology and what is in there for you. So basically taking two cases and showing you on one side what's in for the customer, and on the other hand, of course, what's in for business and the different stakeholders we're dealing with.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that those cases and experiences with us. And those cases highlight very nicely that for making these use cases happen, you have at least 3 different layers which you have to consider when thinking about digital value creation. The first one is you have a technological backbone or infrastructure that needs to be in place. Some companies that are leading in that field would say there is no good product or no good service without good backbone, good data, good infrastructure. Then on top comes where the tech companies are usually very strong and trying to push their solutions, the technological enabler layer. We heard about Watson as an example of analytics from the cloud. We heard about distributed ledger as an infrastructure for different types of thinking systems. And on top of that, we see that there are the possibility to put applications on those enablers, which then will be the basis for the value creation you have. which means, in other words, you have to understand the three layers and the logic, how they're intertwined, so that you can assess which is the infrastructure you want to invest in, or where do you have to do your homework, what is the enabler that you focus on, probably not all of them, but what is the best one that brings you the next beneficial use case in place. And on top of that, then you have the opportunity to develop the application that will yield the business process benefit or the product benefit that you're after. So this means that at the end of the day, you need to reflect on the value that each technology and each layer can bring to the table. You need to understand them from a feasibility perspective and from a maturity perspective and on how to apply it. And you need to learn also how others have actually implemented the full stack, from the application over the enabler to the infrastructure they are running on. And I think with combining these three different viewpoints and perspectives, you as a potential participant and your company as a potential participant can actually replicate and learn and strive in a much better way what the digital leaders are already showcasing for us.
Super. Well, we have prepared an exciting learning journey, or we are in the process of preparing it. So the initial idea was to cut the residential phase as short as possible. Why? Because you have obviously no time. That's the reason why. So it's much harder to make it short term than on a longer period. That's why we can't provide you personally in CAS here a certificate of advanced studies. But let me explain you what we can offer you. We offer you more than 20 exciting pre-learnings from all over the world. We have insights into the ecosystems of the USA, China, Dubai, Tel Aviv, and all those exploring ecosystems where really at the moment things are going on, you really have to understand. On the other hand, it's about the possibility for you to really sit like in front of the TV with your children perhaps, and to really learn something about one of those digital things where you have to make some preparation. And you will get readers, of course, but we have really we are really keen and motivated to really bring you the best preparation along you ever got from a business school. Coming from there, we have prepared so far 5 modules, which have a preparation phase at least from half a day, and a delivery which is now totally online so that we are COVID safe, which is super good for you because you can save time from all over the world and really join us. And we work there. We don't teach there. So this delivery format, when we join for the residential online class, there it is about to reflect about your preparation, to reflect about your open questions, to work on the things to make the transfer happen to your company. We are not there at this point to showcase you in terms of what you have to learn. The learning started already before. But with that saying, you are not alone. This is what we said and addressed, which is super important. On the one hand, you have your partner from the IT sphere, from your own company. On the other hand, we provide you with coaches where you can ask them questions with a reaction time of 48 hours, there where you didn't understand properly, there where you need something. We care that really the companies can make their way, and for that we have to care about you, because you are the person who make this happen. So in the end, it will be before final design, it will be more than 9.5 days residential, but it will create 100% impact for your company. The assessment paper about the as-is status of your company, as well as the most prominent investment ideas you identify in the technological application space, these will be sent into your executive committee. So it's a super good chance for you to position yourself as a senior business leader differently and towards the board. So impact for the company, impact for you. That's the story we want to tell you, how you can become decisive in the digital world. And this I would like to really make it crystal clear again, please. The impact for the company is that you assess and explore the digital readiness of your company, as is status and possible areas of action, an assessment paper which gets prepared for the executive committee in order to take decisions from there on your digital roadmap. And there's impact for you. You as a business person learn to understand tech. You get insights in how to reshape your business in the context of the digital possibilities. You learn to orientate, to lead, and to decide when it comes to tech and business. Furthermore, there are two specialities which are mostly not the case. You work, as said, in intergenerational learning tandems of two, senior business responsible plus younger IT person, and speciality two, have access to our personal tech support so that you really get accompanied over the time period. Well, and we have prepared much more. We are, just to be very honest, at that point of time, we are not allowed to speak about certain brands, about certain ecosystem players we have addressed, about certain things we are doing, but we are providing you with a super immersive learning experience. As I was mentioning, myself and Marco, for example, have been to some of these different ecosystems there we addressed. I've just arrived in February back from Tel Aviv. They have a totally different mindset, a totally different need to use technology, and totally different outputs than we are used to the experiences we already know from the US. China obviously is playing a huge role on a meta level, not only economically in China, but also for us. Dubai is also interesting because they have a different angle to that. Learn from the experiences from other ecosystems and understand how they think in that. We invite real practitioners and real project owners from other companies out of one of those industries you are in order to really learn from somebody who has done it. And we are really deriving it from there. And in the end, you saw all the things. We think that we are providing you a unique learning experience with that.
So I hope you got a couple of reasons why your company should engage. And I hope you got also a couple of reasons why you personally should engage. And this is exactly the specific about this program, right? This is not just your individual training journey. This is helping your company strive. And we are confident that together with you, we can add value to that and would love to work with you on that.
In a nutshell, why now? Because you need it from a business perspective as a senior leader, because your P&L needs some amount of money, because your company needs it in order to survive in times of crisis in COVID-19 and in the overall challenges which we are facing at the moment. And last but not least, we can provide you now this experience to really trigger the gap of the digital readiness, because we have understood that the technology is there, the cases are there, but the people need that how and where and why shall we do it in another way than usually the market provides it. And this is that what we are offering to you at that point where St Gallen, like always, can be sure that we can bring you from A to B like you expected from University of St Gallen, not to follow the hype, but to follow this insight, from insight to impact.
So thank you for being with us, and we're seeing a couple of questions. Christian, would you like to have a shot at them? The first one is, what are these exciting pre-learnings? Are those videos, and how, if so, time-consuming are they?
Well, as we said, it's at least half a day of preparation. Most likely it is more. And yes, they will be provided particularly as videos, but we also have other things where we think about podcasts in the time where you're traveling in your car or something, sometimes a reader could be a good one. So we really try to mix it, but more videos, less reading. How long does the program, total program take? Yeah, well, this is what I try to say, with at least 9.5 days without preparation and without the assessment of your company. But to be very honest, when we are doing the fine design based on the industries we have, when you as participants and companies have joined us, then we really say, I assume that we will have more invest than 9.5 days from both sides, your side and our side. So I guess something around 12 to 13 days. But I don't want to make any promises yet, because the customizing phase has not yet started. We don't know you yet because you didn't subscribe so far.
Could you say a little bit about the length of those days?
Yes.
Over how many months does it ideally spread?
We thought about a spread of 12 months in order to really have the time to make the 5 pre-learnings, the 5 modules a bit faster and a bit tighter, but in the end to have the time in order to write the assessment paper and to really make use of the coaching possibilities we are offering you.
So in a nutshell, 10 days over a year, ideally
Plus.
2 to 3 participants from your company that have the spirit of let's make things happen, and a company that would love to engage in digital transformation, and ready we are.
So we are. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us anytime. There's another one.
Yeah, thanks for that question as well. A very relevant one. How do you create this immersive atmosphere in an online program? Will I get to network with my fellow participants? If so, how? Christian, we got some ideas here, right?
Okay. Well, it will be. The thing is, what we've learned in actually, for example, I have 1 or 2 industry clients. We just recently had this immersive online experience, and a major difference is that you have to work on something. Then the energy occurs and comes up. We have possibilities to bring you in a team format, for example, to really engage you. We have the possibility to let you work on things and accompany you. We have the possibility you can share these learning preparation things, obviously not the insights from your company, but of course you can bring in friends when you do your preparation time. So why not? If they are interested also in understanding something, why not? Let them learn together. But nevertheless, it will be an online journey format, and for that we have, for example, provided an app. With that app, you can find guys out of your initiative who are willing to take a coffee with you on Thursday, 4 o'clock, and it's like a Tinder match, for example, where you decide with whom are you taking lunch, for example, on Thursday. So we really will use the whole space of solution possibilities we have. We will bring you into different things and formats like Slack and other things where a lot of senior business leaders, know about it, but to use it is different. So we will really try to use the existing tools which are on the market and which will stay on the market most likely in order to let you adapt.
And remember, it's a hybrid program. So there will be face-to-face initiatives where you have the opportunity to meet face-to-face. So this is the idea of mingling the best of both worlds. There's another question. Thank you for that one. What kind of impact has been delivered from the previous participants? Could you share a short example with us? Christian, which one would you like to share with us?
Well, no, we have to be fair. This is unique new. So we have never done that.
Let's make an assumption. Let's make an assumption. We had our previous corporate partner engaging in a transformative learning experience with us around digital value creation.
That's in the end, it's easy. Well, actually for them, the most important impact was that they have to learn from an outside-in perspective, and that they have to bring the customer and the need up front in order to understand that the solutions are coming from different fields than before. These were mostly engineering people, for example, in this case, and they had really to learn how they pragmatically can contribute in a different way than they were used to, because important information was not given to them, and they had not this contextual view, and with that, they couldn't do any transfer. but now they are able to work differently in a totally different outside-in approach than before, because it's not about product selling, it's about value creation in the end.
So thank you for being with us and for your interest, and we would love to reach out to you. So get in touch with us, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to get to know you.
I would like to say thank you as well, not before having said thanks to all further people who have contributed. These were a lot of people from IBM, for example, from Philip Ebel, for example, who contributed, a lot of other people. And this experience is not the experience of just a 3. We will provide you with a full, interesting learning ecosystem. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.